gay with brothers. Like they just don't. They don't play that way.
No.
Like we play that way.
Yeah.
I love it. I love gay.
Speaking of basketball, we have a bracket for you.
Oh, please tell me we're gonna name NBA people we would.
I think it's just.
I don't even know enough people in the NBA that I'd. Real quick, top 5 NBA guys I would have sex with. Anthony Davis.
Really?
I just saw him play the other night. LeBron, obviously.
Yeah.
Steph Curry. I'd be the top.
Well, those are like also great stories. You know what I mean? Like when you're hanging out, you're like, you know, I just
Steph Curry.
You're like, get out of here, really? Yeah. And then you're like, yeah, the next day it's LeBron. Getting wild in 48 hours. Yeah.
The Greek dude, Giannis.
Yeah.
I'd have sex with him.
Bro, what are you saying? How did it seriously come to this? And the thing is, this isn't some off-the-cuff discussion they went down. We know that they plan out these episodes and have production meetings before they bank 3 months worth of episodes into 2 weeks of recording. So that's where the title of this episode came from. Remember? They created these brackets so they could narrow down the guys they want to sleep with to find a final winner.
Oh, we have a bracket?
Yeah, it's a bracket.
Shut the fuck up.
March Madness, baby.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to find the most fuckable celebrity right now.
So let's just get this straight. 2 of the highest selling comedians on the planet had a production meeting, and the best idea for a podcast they could come up with was to do March Madness brackets of famous dudes they want to get railed by. Now, if you're not already cringing from Bert's insane groupie energy, take this as a warning. It's about to get bad. Just to give you an idea of the level of detail involved in deciding who wins each stage, this is what happened when they got to the Kelsey brothers, and it wasn't deciding between the 2 of them, they were both on the same side. Don't come at me in the comments, guys, because I've already warned you.
Both Kelsey brothers?
Oh, wow. Hold on.
Or Ben Affleck? That's a really, really tough one. You're basically airtight with the Kelsey bros, right? Like, you're just a fucking, like, spigot, right? They're just
leaky submarine, just in the mouth and the ass.
Yeah.
And
there's by the way, there's a lot of power behind these thrusts.
Oh wow. I'm gonna be taking a rest day. It's my Monday.
Yeah. You're gonna need that cold plunge.
I've always wanted to have a brother, so I think both the Kelsey brothers, you'd be a part of the family, and you get all the inside jokes.
Sure. Yeah.
And all of a sudden you'd be welcomed in to them.
Yeah.
And you can hang out with. I mean, they got to get rid of their wives.
Yeah. Leave their
Taylor
families.
and Kelsey are gone.
It's really tough to be enough for 2 people. You're always going to be dealing with, like, Jason's going to be like, I guess you spent the night with Travis last night. You know what I mean? And then you're like, dude, I fucking love you.
That might be enough for a throuple.
You think so?
I might be the perfect guy for a throuple because I'm a lot.
You are a lot.
I might have total throuple energy.
But
then the question is,
yeah,
cigarette, Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Always, he's got the same scrolling thing I have where he's like, God, man, I want to get down tonight.
Yeah.
And then I can get a loose.
But he's sober.
No, I'm not with me.
Okay. And he's just left J-Lo again.
He just left J-Lo. He's lost. He's confused. He's got a house in the hills.
Yeah.
We bump into each other at Runyon Canyon. And he's like, hey, I saw the thing that you and the other guy did with the brackets. Is that real? And I go, huh? And he goes, would you for real? And I go, yeah, I said it. And he goes, hey, come hang out with me tonight. I'm off the wagon. I'm partying. But I got my phone under control. And I'm like, okay. He's like, hey, don't bring your chick. It's me and you.
You're like, yeah, of course.
And then the other pitch is me and you are under the bed, and the Kelsey brothers walk up, shoulder to shoulder with me, and they're like, hey, we saw the thing you did with Tom. Is that real? Can we take turns on you?
Oh, what's that saying? There's truth to every joke. And we know that Bert's a terrible actor after seeing the Machine movie flop in more ways than one, but this wasn't just a 5 or 10 minute conversation. It was the whole theme of this episode. It went for over an hour. This is what they call content.
Now, it's the finals. It's the finals, dude. Who are you going to choose?
I can't believe that in my final running, I don't have great names like Winston Churchill, Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
I don't have great names. Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
Leo. Shannon Sharp. They're all out of the finals. I'm so shocked that they didn't make it to the finals.
This is like
that my final choice is either Johnny Depp or Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp or Hugh Jackman? I want you as a listener right now, very quickly, who would you get into a relationship with? Sexual relationship.
And it's young Johnny Depp.
And it's young Johnny Depp.
All right, just quickly, how much does Tom Segura look like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder? Anyway, this is the level of content we've come to expect from two of Joe Rogan's never-been-funny comedians in 2024, and I just want to make a couple of comments before I move on to the scam that they were recently exposed for by Mike from Red Bar Radio. There's a bunch of people, including myself, who give Rogan a hard time for his lack of preparation for guests and just his general laziness when it comes to the production of his podcast. Just last week on Protect Our Parts, we saw him and Jamie fumbling their way through YouTube's copyright rules. They had no idea which clips they could play. Rogan kept turning to Jamie, asking him if he could pull something up. And Jamie just kept saying no and eventually blurted out, "I don't know, I'm not a lawyer." I've been listening to the latest episode of JRE with Dave Attell as well, and Jamie was just basically ignoring Rogan whenever he asked Jamie to pull up a video. I just can't get past this. I don't understand how Rogan has a $250 million contract with Spotify and they can't buy the rights to play the song Team America. Like, it's just wild. It's the biggest podcast on the planet. But the reason I'm telling you all of this is because Two Bears, One Cave is the complete opposite.
Because, like, I go to Tom's. Have you been to Tom's? Tom's?
Oh, yeah.
It's like they have a real production staff.
Yeah.
There's all these people running around with clipboards, and it's like...
I went to Bert's house the other day. He had 8 people behind computers just typing away. What the f- they're doing? Emailing
there's
what?
Social media
Yeah.
going crazy, promoting arena shows. Everyone's going nuts.
Me, no.
I don't want that in my life.
So there's obviously pros and cons to both of these, right? On the one hand, you've got the JRE style of podcast where Rogan rarely prepares and just lets the conversation with his guest go in its own direction over 2 to 3 hours. On the other hand, you've got the highly produced style of YMH Studios where everything is prepared into segments and they both have notes on what to talk about next and how long to talk about it for, followed by 50 ad reads. But the problem is, Tom and Bert aren't using that production power to create good, well-informed and researched content. Hell, it's not even really that fun anymore. They're just using it to produce straight-up cringe bait, and that's the frustrating thing, right? They obviously know this, and they're doing it on purpose. Think about it. With all the producers and managers, PR staff and agents, etc., that Tom and Bert have employed, none of the things that happen on their podcasts are by mistake. Most of it's planned, and some of it's probably even scripted for them. So they know that to stay in the conversation, they have to lean into the cringe. That's how you get Bert's top 5 NBA players that he'd sleep with. And banking episodes doesn't help either. I think you need to have time away from the studio to come up with good content and stories. I mean, you got to have a life, right? Otherwise, you're boxing yourself in forcing content that comes off as unnatural and manufactured. So the bottom line is these guys are simply doing too much, and it's all part of this ongoing grift. Now, speaking of grifting, have you heard about their new vodka? Well, you can't exactly buy it yet because it hasn't officially been released, but they have released the merch already, and things aren't going so well. Mike from Red Bar Radio bought a Por Osos t-shirt and made an interesting discovery.
I'm looking at these pictures and I'm going, man, this really doesn't look like the t-shirt that I received. And then I very quickly realized it's because it's not the t-shirt I received. I'll break the news to you quick. In all of the Por Osos advertising and listings for the item on their store, they're using expensive, thick AS color t-shirt. Here's Tom looking like a stud in the shirt, no wrinkles, and you see the nice, thick collar. You see that it looks nice and sturdy and thick, and you could scroll through these pictures. Every photo of Tom is in the nice version of this piece of shit shirt that we actually get. Here's the proof. There's that AS color tag right there that they've blurred out, but I
at least edit
could
that
recognize it. And here's the nice thick collar. You could compare it to this collar here, which is extremely thin and junky, and they're selling an item that they are not shipping. And they said the merch, remember when they promoted it, next level merch. This merch is next level.
We're going to have our vodka there for you to taste. We're going to have great merch. I'm talking next level merch. Look over my left shoulder. It's great merch.
It is great merch. It's an even, I'm saying this, I know I should be, but I'm going to just tell you, it is an amazing product.
I'm talking next level merch. Look over my left shoulder.
So let's be honest here, this isn't a big deal. I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as Logan Paul's CryptoZoo scam or Andrew Schultz charging his fans for his comedy special and then dropping it for free on YouTube a few weeks later. This is just a bit of the old merch scamming where you advertise a certain level of quality and you don't deliver. And that tells you everything you need to know about how Tom and Bert view their audience. It's one big game of how much money they can extract from their fans before we catch on and realize that they're getting rich off us and then bragging about the lifestyles we gave them while simultaneously mocking us for being poor. The joke's on us, right? Well, maybe not for long. I think it only pays to be a clown for a short period of time before people get sick of your act and realize you're no longer a comedian, you're just a circus act who's friends with Joe Rogan. But hey, we all know how much Joe loves animals, so I'm sure they'll always have a home to go to. Just remember, Bert, stop reading those comments, just like Joe told you. Me, on the other hand, well, I'm here for the comments. Take a look at what people are saying on the latest episode of Two Bears. 4 minutes in, I think I'm going to save this episode for when I'm really bored or falling asleep. Who's told Bert he could say brothers like that? 2 Bears, 25 ads. Is this what Cat Williams was talking about? I really think I need to reevaluate the direction of my life. What have I done in my past that has led me to this place where I listen to this in its entirety? Coming to the conclusion that the only thing I liked about this podcast was Nadav's laugh. I'd rather go to the 4th floor of hell that's after the Chili's floor than keep getting advertisements. Yeah, these guys are falling off pretty hard. Like I said, acting the fool can only last so long. But that's it from me for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're not a regular viewer of this channel, hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. And be sure to drop a comment below to let me know what you think about it.
You know how easy it would be for me, 20-year-old? I can impress her so much. Like, I could just take her, put her on a private jet. She'd be like, whoa. And then I'd be like, yeah, this is what we do.
Do you believe in the term internet comedian? Versus comedian.
Oh, no.
So, internet comedian Bert Kreischer appeared on the latest episode of Shaq's podcast, and man, was this a cringe fest. Bert proved yet again just how one-dimensional he really is, hitting the same talking points and telling the same stories that he always does. Except luckily for him, Shaq didn't quite know who exactly Bert was at first.
I know your face, of course. I know who you are. I never knew your name was Bert. Yeah, I never knew you because I came in and I was like, oh, it's Bert Kreischer. And then when you walked through the door, I was like, oh, yeah.
So let's just get this straight. Shaq's team...
You understand what he's saying?
And diamonds are forever.
October 3rd, he asked me what day it was.
Hey, what day is it?
It's October 3rd.
I don't know what it is, guys. I am absolutely enthralled with World of T-shirts at this point. Every week I make an update talking about the latest crash out, all the works that go into it, and I say, well, this will probably be outdated by next week. And every week it's kind of like Goodwill Hunting. I say that with the hopes that it doesn't happen again, but it happens again. And you know, maybe it's my own personal desires to actually come back and talk about Josh, but he just keeps going all out, and he had 2 of the craziest crash outs recently. One, he is starting to record, I guess, an album or something of all of these parody songs. So he has a crash out in the studio, outside of the studio. Then the next stream, he has another crash out, gets offered some ladies of the night. Liquid Josh shows up. It's there's a lot going on with Josh. I feel like every week is topping the last, which is probably bad. That means that we're reaching the climax where he just derails right off of the cliff you know, O'Doyle rules, but we got a lot to discuss.
Or it says, ah! Kill it. Why did you do that? You keep telling me to live right, to go to bed before sing with I fucked it up.
You want to keep any of that?
Can you cut it from sing with me? I will single
Focus on the music. You're doing like a songbird job. You're anonymous. It's amazing.
You just have to love all the faces that this producer is making. I am mad curious about how much money. I have no idea about the music industry. I have no musical talent, as you can probably tell by my voice. So I don't know what the rates are and all that. I imagine in places like New York City and Los Angeles, it's probably really competitive, and maybe they have to fight with each other to get, you know, as many clientele as you possibly can. Unfortunately, this guy ended up with Josh. And no matter how hard he tries throughout this thing, he just can't get the auto-tune to save Josh's vocals at all. It just sounds absolutely miserable. And Josh is getting mad at him the entire time. Why are you including my shout that I just told you to include? And he's getting pissed off. And you can tell that both this producer and Mr. Bass are trying really hard not to laugh while this whole thing is going on. In fairness, though, this is one of the least destructive things that Mr. Bass could be having Josh try and do, right? Now, I'm sure that he's going to start putting all this stuff on Spotify and iTunes and whatever, and I'm sure it's directly linked to Mr. Bass' bank account. So Josh probably isn't going to see a lot of revenue out of this, but you just have to love it. You have to love the dynamic that's going down here. This guy has probably spent years and years and years and thousands of dollars to try and pursue this career, and now you got an alcoholic, autistic man screaming and shouting and some ex-former pimp throwing glitter all over the ground, which we'll get to at the very end.
My life is hell.
What do you want to change to make it better?
It's okay. Why do I have to live in poverty all the time? This Italy, that's where I belong. I don't belong in this piece of shit of a country. I belong at home in Italy. I make $5,000 a month!
Josh, you're recording Aerosmith. Stop it. Hang up on that person.
I've only been a nut!
Hang up! Hang up the phone! Sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Sorry, bro. Sorry, bro. Don Bertucci's on the phone, man. He's trying to destroy Josh's career. I know you'd understand. You completely understand. Just like how we're trying to destroy your career, which is actually kind of funny because in one of these clips, he's talking to the producer and he's like, man, I'm so sorry about this. You want to give a shout out to your handle or whatever? And the guy made the best decision of his entire life. And he said, no, I'm good. You know, it's so bad. You hear those stories of like, I'm going to return the money that you gave to me. I don't even want you to pay me back. I don't want anything to do with your money. This is exactly what is happening right now. He doesn't want the clout from the Josh stream, understandably, because he keeps taking these phone calls, air quote. The first one, why do I have to live in poverty? Excellent. That's my new catchphrase. Why do I have to live in poverty? I only make $5,000 a month. Me and Josh, we're in the same boat. Pretty soon you're going to see me crashing out in New York City, running around drunk. And I don't know, the Boogster Slam Doinkaroni is going to be my first hit single. So as you've noticed, and as I mentioned, Josh, he's got glitter on him, right? And the question is, how did that happen? Why did he get that? Well, Mr. Bass has a great explanation.
Passport, so I can't go on my cruise. I'm scared. Rob me.
Have you met other rock stars that act like this?
This is honestly not the worst.
It's not the worst? You've had worse?
I don't think this guy has had way worse. I think he's trying to humor them. This isn't the worst. Never mind the fact you just dumped an entire bucket of glitter into my very expensive studio that you're probably not going to sweep up and you're just going to leave. Leaving me to go clean it up. if I was this producer, dude, it's just like, you know how like Airbnbs or Ubers have like really expensive cleaning fees sometimes? I would just hit him with a bill for that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was cool, dude. I'm really glad that as this man's having a manic freak out, air quote, calling the police, you pour a bucket of glitter on him. Here's a $500 fine. Thanks and have a good day. That's what I would say. So basically, we get through the recording session and Josh goes outside, and I have condensed this like 2.5-3 minute long clip of him freaking out right outside the studio, trying to get into his Uber. He says some furdy dirties. The F slur has been unlocked. If you want to listen to the whole rant, it's on my Twitter that you can go pay attention. But I chopped up some of the best bits for us to listen to.
Away from me!
Don't talk to me.
What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Stop it, Josh. Stop. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Josh, let's go. Get in the car. No, get in the hey, get in the car. Get in the car. Yeah. Act normal. Get in the car. No! Yeah. No, stop it! Get in the car. Stop it! You stop it! You kick him! Stop it! Get in that cab! Get in here!
He's literally developing this like pterodactyl. I almost said pterodactyl. How embarrassing! This pterodactyl screeching that is going on. And you can hear him chomping his teeth together. And he's biting into his hand. Mr. Bass is freaked out. He thinks they're going to come beat him up. And I want to make this point now before we get to the Liquid Chris part, or the Liquid Josh, I should say, sorry, at the very end of this video, is that Mr. Bass consistently, whenever anybody is trying to film Josh or interact with Josh, he'll say, "Oh my God, why are you guys behaving like this? Why are you doing this?" Meanwhile, Mr. Bass is legitimately siphoning funds, committing fraud, essentially, stealing money away from Josh, and is live streaming his life and is encouraging him to spiral into a descent of madness. Now, I've already expressed this. I've accepted the fact that I'm a horrible person for thinking all of this is hilarious, and I continue to think it's pretty hilarious. And this freak out and the crash out before and the Liquid Josh part at the end, it just keeps reinforcing it. There is no reality show out there that is better than what is going on in the world of t-shirts verse right now.
I said to her, have you been paid? And she said yes. And I said, how much? She said $700. And I'm like, whoa, someone paid this kid $700? Where you going?
So as we see here, Mr. Bass somehow stumbled upon some Asian lady who can't even speak English, and he was trying to get her to do the hoinky poink with good old World of T-shirts Joshua Block in the background, and he's talking into the camera. She sees it and instantly leaves. And you want to know what Mr. Bass responds to all of that is? He says next time he's going to try and hide the camera. Yeah, you know, it's like the good old Rice Gum days. And then she found the camera and she got all pissed off at me. Based on a true story. Mr. Based on a true story. So we strike out once, right? You know, swing and a miss. It happens. It happens. I'm sure I'm not alone here. You know, you're swinging to hit that home run and you don't even make contact. It's just 3 fastballs right past you. But guess what? You got a second plate appearance, baby, and we're gonna redeem ourselves.
You had virgin customers before? My son is a virgin.
Sure.
Do you have condoms?
I have some condoms.
Let me see your condoms.
Okay.
Is good? Good.
So now we get a second lady of the night who also cannot speak English to show up into Mr. Bass' apartment. I want to say this is just an off-the-cuff joke. It reminds me, if you've ever watched It's Always Sunny, there's an episode where Bill Ponderosa wants to game end himself, right? And he's talking about how fruit that comes overseas is shipped together with a bunch of ladies of the night that are being traded around the world, right? This is the vibe I'm getting. Where is Mr. Bass finding these non-English speaking ladies of the night to come bang his autistic alcoholic buddy? All right, I need some help trying to decipher that. Now, this is the one moment in the entire video that I actually feel sympathy for Josh, because I think this is extremely humiliating. You know, you're trying to be suave. Oh, here's my virgin autistic buddy. You want to bang him? Ha 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 ha. Does he need condoms? Why, he has some? What a loser. It's not like he'll ever get laid. I mean, that's the vibe I'm getting, right? Now, obviously, Josh, he is a man of morals, and he goes on to explain exactly what happened with this lady.
I decided not to lose my virginity. It would have been very illegal, and I don't need another criminal charge.
So Mr. Bass giggling as always, because, you know, it's making him reflect back on his younger days when he, you know, he's game ending people allegedly, don't sue me. And, you know, he's selling ladies to Epstein's Island, allegedly. And it's all fun. It's all cool. We're just chilling. We're just bros. So obviously stage fright happens to the best of us. I have to imagine with how much Josh drinks, it's not like anything would be working for him anyway. It's not like he'd be able to do any hoinky slam poinkaroni going down on her. So that's my opinion. And finally, we're reaching the point. Liquid Josh, everybody.
They put something other than cheese.
Yeah, I took a bite out of it and I wanted to almost throw up.
Put the fries in the bag. Stop it. Put the fries in the bag. How'd you get here? You're my clone. You're stealing my intellectual. Hurry, get away, get away.
Just ignore him. He's a nice guy.
Get out of here. I'll sue you. Get away. I'll send you.
Josh, come here. Come here, good practice. Just ignore him. No, Josh.
So Josh starts to run away. This guy's cadence is very good. It's very similar to Josh, right? I'm gonna sue you. You're going to jail. And there is a conspiracy out there among the blocker fans. I don't know what the actual term is for them, the blocker verse. And it's that Mr. Bass actually paid for this guy to show up and mess around with Josh, which I don't think actually happened, but it is kind of funny because you can kind of see at the beginning of this clip that he sort of pans to put Josh in the right side of the screen, and he sees this guy coming up to him. So I think there's some validity that people want to put in there, but you know, Josh obviously is starting to freak out. He thinks that this is Edward Scissorhands, 40,000 knives tucked into his trench coat, and he's got to get out of there.
Josh, go to the bar. Go to the bar, Josh. Guy's a piece of shit. Leave him alone, bro. Josh. Stand with me. Leave him alone, you asshole.
Help me! I'm you! Help! I'm you!
I love the quip from Liquid Josh here saying this is exactly what you do, and it's 100% true. This entire thing, right? Josh is freaking out. Mr. Bass is all pissed off. This is your entire career, bro. Why are you getting pissed off that somebody else is starting to mess with you? You mess with everybody else, but oh, he's off limits, guys. He's autistic when it benefits me, and when it doesn't benefit me, yeah, we're cutting that out. I mean, come on, man. Like, this is funny. Obviously, I'm never really a huge fan of having to bring businesses into this whole scenario, but it doesn't last super long.
He's back!
Just ignore him. Why are you afraid of him?
He's after
No, he's not. He's not after you. He's not after you, Josh. Just ignore him.
Ignore me. Get him out!
Ignore him, Josh.
What's he doing? What are you doing? Please do that.
Bar owner, get rid of this guy. He's hurting the guy behind me.
Why? What's special about him? He's 6 years old.
And I love this entire scenario. Oh, little babies, they have to run away. Oh, oh, stay away from me. Stay away from me. Bar owner. I know I took advantage of young women my entire life and may or may not have, led to an unfortunate situation with one of them. Maybe allegedly. And, I just don't like it when other people try and take advantage of people. That's crazy. And I love the quips that Liquid Josh is throwing out here. I'm your entire show. You're a 60-year-old balding man following me around. That's exactly what Mr. Bass's career is at this point. Now, I do want to give some credit to Mr. Bass because I feel like his camera work has gotten a lot better. He's keeping Josh in frame a lot of the times now. So he gets escorted out, makes a great point. Why do those two get to rush into your bar, but I'm the one that has to be kicked out? That's weird. That doesn't make any sense, but whatever. You're trying to defuse the situation. I get it. And Josh makes an excellent response. He's gonna take the full force of the law, baby.
And some guy dressed up as me was chasing me and yelling insults at me. He intentionally tripped me, and I scraped both of my elbows. I also scraped my left hand, and we snuck into a bar and had him thrown out. I'm going to the police tomorrow.
So let's evaluate all this, right? So Josh claims that this man tripped him, he chased after him. Never mind the fact that Josh was the one that, I don't know, started to run away from a man that was doing nothing but imitating him and recording him. So he runs into the street, right? But yes, this Liquid Josh guy 100% definitely tripped him. It's not like Josh has a tendency to run in between traffic to get himself hurt. It's not like we've seen weird cuts and scratches and bruises on his body in the past. This time, 100%, this random troll that never did anything physical except at the very end where he got detained by the bar owner. Minus all that, it 100% is on Liquid Josh. And of course, World of T-Shirts likes to say, I'm gonna go tell the police on him. I'm gonna go report him to the police. I don't know if you should do that, buddy. All right, this is a civil situation, right? And we can probably verifiably take your blood alcohol level. Even when you go to report this, they're gonna be like, oh, you're intoxicated in public.
Jack Doherty just crashed his McLaren on stream while reading chat or maybe texting on his phone.
All right, guys, I just totaled my McLaren. The users of Kick are definitely killing the platform itself. And with this newest Jack Doherty clip, things got so bad that they have literally...
This is what my eyes do. So check this out. Ready? One eye goes this way, and then one eye goes like that. So I could either be looking at a burger spot behind you while I'm also having a deep conversation with you.
Because, McDonald's has cheeseburgers.
This is what my eyes do. So check this out. Ready?
Oh shit, Doja.
Here's Phil to tell you more.
So, all right, so here's the question. Who did it better? Colonel Sanders, all right? Triple P, or me? I don't care.
Paddling time for Dickers.
It's been a while.
So, well, yeah, Dickers decided to come back. And Dickers did a stream where he ate, I'm not kidding, he ate the entire bag of 10,000 milligram edibles on stream. We have a still image from it. The stream was deleted immediately, and
Wow, everybody. It's I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
How exciting.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Me too.
So our first story today is Selena Gomez has found herself in a little bit of controversy following her attendance at the Sabrina Carpenter concert in New York. Quite frankly, I believe that my girl's in the clear, but I'm gonna let you decide.
Well, what's the accusation?
So here's the thing. There were two separate controversies that took place for Selena Gomez at the Sabrina Carpenter concert. Number one is that she attended with her friends, and one of her friends being an actor named Edgar.
Let's do the MKBHD Marcus Brownlee story.
Marcus Brownlee.
Everybody seems to be tickled about that. But before we get into that, we have a little...
Wait, not yet. I need to download it. I'll let you know when I have it.
We have to download something.
Let's do
set
the
it up. I set it up. How much more setup?
Let's do the story and then we'll take a look at
Mark
the video.
Brownlee. Yep. Everybody. Tech reviewer. Honestly, great guy.
Yeah.
I love him. I've met him. He's been on the show. He's a tremendous dude. I have a ton of respect for him as a creator. And so I'm going in with this, okay? Disclosure. Marcus is Mark Yass.
I mean, he makes great videos.
Who does it like me? I mean, let's be real. So he launched a new app called Panels. The app offers curated, high-resolution wallpapers from digital artists. He introduced the app to his YouTube audience in his iPhone 6 review video. Let's take a look. 16, yeah. A pioneer, by the way. I think he was like the big first tech YouTuber, which is really interesting because he continues to be on top, which is not usual.
Yeah.
He's been on YouTube since 2008.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
That's
like,
nuts.
he really is, you know, he's the real deal.
Brownlee.
Yeah.
Weeks now. But you know what I've been doing way longer than 2 weeks? Working on a new app that we are finally launching. You guys have always been asking me where I get my wallpapers. Like, it's frequently the #1 suggested search result under my name, has been for years. So now we put them all in one place. It's called Panels, and it's finally live in the App Store, both on iOS and on Android. Feels really good to be able to say that. So if you're wondering where the wallpaper on these phones in the review came from, Panels. If you're wondering where the wallpaper in the last video came from, Panels. Matter of fact, almost all of the wallpapers on the devices and in backgrounds you've seen in my videos for the past year have all come from Panels.
What does he mean that, oh, hold on. What does he mean they come from Panels? The app didn't exist.
He's been working on it.
Yeah, he's been working on it. So I guess presumably they're just ones that
they put them on Panels.
I guess it's a chicken and egg situation, you know.
Where could you find it? You could find it on Panels.
Right.
He did not say it like that.
Yeah.
Pretty sick. We have a bunch of awesome artists over there that we are splitting profits with 50-50. And there's already a ton of great collections of art and much more incoming. And we have some pretty big plans for this thing. So it's starting off as a wallpaper app now. I don't want to overpromise too much, but it's going to be pretty consistently improving over time, which is part of the reason why we're offering a subscription to support it. So go pick it up now.
I found that statement like so cryptic. Like, where's that wallpaper app going?
Yeah, I agree.
Where's the ceiling on that?
And then throwing that out there when you're letting people know that it costs $50 a year.
Well, there's a free version. What do you get for the free version?
Well, you get
standard def.
Some of the wallpapers, and you cannot download them in HD. So you can have a pixelated wallpaper.
You have to watch 2 ads as well.
And you have to watch 2 ads to download this pixelated wallpaper. It's super.
You know,
I don't know what the fuck he was thinking with this. I like the guy too, but it's just like, this is bonkers.
If I may.
You may. If I may.
I've always had a difficult time finding a very cool wallpaper. So I got the new phone. I wanted it to make ass wallpaper. Now am I paying $50 for this bullshit? Hell no. But I had ChatGPT make me a wallpaper.
Really? How did that work?
Fucking amazing.
Can you show it?
Yeah.
How much did that cost?
What was it? $20 for the Dolly 2 image? You're like, look at this.
Yeah, but you didn't. It was free. It was free with your.
It's too bright.
I can't.
You gotta turn on the
Can you send an image? I actually really want to see that. I want to see what jobs
You know, I don't know if other people know about it, but I put the setting that the phone provides, which is like it will alternate through your photos.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just constantly photos of the kids, and it's so
nice.
fun because it will like pop up photos that are just funny or cute, and it just kind of like puts me in a good mood every time I see.
That's sweet.
any
Yeah.
photo.
Yeah, that's what I do. I have pictures of my wife just
Yeah.
rotating.
It's so cool.
Yeah, the Apple Watch does that too.
Okay, I love it. It's such a good idea.
I literally don't even know what the background of the phone is.
So, Zach, are you getting that, guys?
Send it to you.
The thing that I'm kind of surprised about is like, do people care about background images that much?
I do.
I do.
I've had since iCloud was around, so maybe like 2012. I've had different albums of wallpapers as I've gotten new iPhones. Yeah.
Do you buy them? Have you ever paid for it?
No, our wallpapers. That's the main place I get them from for free.
Free. And are those user generated, or do you know how it works?
Usually it's people just submit them. Like if they see like something in a video, they'll be like, anyone know where I could get this wallpaper? And
so
I didn't even realize there was a market for that. I
that's what I
everybody screenshots.
But I feel like there isn't, because people are expecting to find stuff for free.
Well, and then-
nobody's gonna pay for
Yeah,
it.
There's another wrinkle in this, as you touched on that. Back in the day, we have that original comment about. We don't have it. Let me find it.
I sent the wallpaper.
Can you open that, Dan, as I look for this?
Sure.
Here, what did you say, Eula? Say that again. Hold on, I found what I was looking for. Say it again.
Okay.
What did you say?
Me? Oh, that people don't want to pay for wallpapers?
Go back to 2023.
Oh. Yeah.
Marcus says this. Rule number 1, never charge for something that was previously free.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Right.
That's exactly.
Yeah, there's sort of an
point.
abundance of wallpapers
Yeah.
available out there. Now, can there be more? Of course there could be more, but, well, just market forces here. When there's 10 million free ones that you can download, then who's paying $50 a month for access?
I mean, I think
to a limited quantity of them.
I think it's good that the creators get 50%, but
for sure.
But I mean, at the end of the day, like I don't know. For me, I would just do like pictures of my kids or my dog or my family. Like I don't know. I find it always kind of silly. It'd be like slick. I need a cool slick background. It's like what?
I don't know. I feel like you can always screenshot and use whatever you want as a wallpaper. Like it's just a free thing, and it should stay that way. If you want to support an artist you like, you can go and buy their art prints or their art, whatever it is that they're doing.
This is Zach's wallpaper. Interesting.
Fucking sick, dude. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. He really fucked up the lines. But.
Yeah, what happened there?
Well, I said, because I wanted the car super realistic, so that's a 964 911 Porsche. And I'm like, I want a super high realistic photo of that with an 80s background and palm trees.
They nailed it.
It nailed it.
It really did. It's impressive.
Some of them were like I tried it a couple times. It was kind of fucked up, so I had to tweak it a little bit, but it's pretty cool.
There you go, Marcas. Eat your heart out. Let me put it.
Find your new favorite wallpaper, your new favorite artist, and let me know what you think. It's kind of fun to be on the other side now, on the development side, where now other people are going to review what we make, which is always...
It's nothing. Like, he's acting like this is something. It's not. It's just like wallpapers. It's like the most basic, like, what do you...
Now,
barely a thing.
Now, there's a whole app as well, but if you want to scroll back just a little bit, another aspect of this, too, because I see people saying, well, it's nice that they pay the artist. I agree.
Yeah,
however,
who's paying for it?
if you take a look in the
It's
video,
going to be
let's
pretty
put that back
consistently
up on screen.
improving over time, which is part of the reason why we're offering a subscription to support it. So go pick it up now. Poke around, find your new favorite wallpaper, your new favorite art.
This is, those are like the most low effort things I've ever seen in my life.
Even
like,
the ones he's showing.
Yeah.
This and like a balloon in the sky with a robot. Like, what the fuck is that? ChatGPT is literally.
I don't want to accuse of anything. I would not be surprised to learn that these are all just AI generated.
Well, if
it looks like it to me.
Yeah, it's definitely not like good enough to pay for.
Right.
Like, what the fuck is that? That looks AI. That has to be AI. Who would make that?
I think with all the peace and love in the world, because we all like his videos, this project
It's kind of fun to
is
be
just
on the other.
not that good. It's just not that good of a project.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not the end of the world. People.
Yeah, it's not.
People are defending him like, dude, it's not that big of a deal. Who cares? And that's ultimately
fine.
true.
Yeah, it's
Although
not.
I say this,
you don't have to.
Marcus has been like perfect. I don't think he's ever done. Well, he actually, there was one little thing he's gotten some controversy over reviews, but nothing serious. So I think people are probably just going in on him like extra hard. His haters have been waiting for this moment.
Yeah.
This has to be made by AI. Like, who the fuck would make that? Genuinely, what? Oh my god. It's not my fault. There. What the fuck? Who the fuck would make that other than a robot?
I mean, some people.
I mean, that looks actually like a
dude in a suit with a astronaut helmet that's lit the fuck up like a lamp inside of it.
It's a little goofy.
That's AI.
I feel like it looks kind of like Blender kind of thing. 3D lighting.
Let's see what else there. I'm actually. And that's the coolest one we've got there.
People saying it's not AI, it works directly with the artists.
That doesn't mean they didn't make it on AI. I don't think Marcus made it on AI. I think some of these artists that submitted it might have.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, just take a look at what is on offer there and tell me that it is.
Well, either way, it's not good enough to pay for. I'm not paying for that shit.
Yeah.
Here is the same fucking suited up visor guy in front of a sun. I mean, that's so AI. And this too. This is like clip art. Like, what the fuck?
Brown.
I'd rather be dead than have that as my desktop.
Okay, maybe not rather be dead, but
I mean, look at that shit. Am I wrong? What the fuck is this? This is dumb.
That robot is like an actual thing that they sell. It's like
Who sells? Oh, it's.
I saw that when I was looking for a love ball back in the days.
Oh.
So he's okay. Wow. So there it is, guys. We do have that thing ready, y'all.
Yes.
All right, we have a thing. Go ahead.
We got a thing.
Hi, how you doing? Well, you know who I am. Look, new iPhones are out. Do you have it? I have it. I have it. Do you have it? You don't got it. The masses have been asking, where do you get your sound bites? How do you play them so fast? I have the answer to that question. And it's called Z-Bites. Thousands and thousands of sound bites that are royalty-free, probably, in the palm of your hand. Z-Bites is featuring a collection of brand new sounds from your favorite H3 crew members that are sourced ethically and probably royalty-free. Lightning fast sound bites in the palm of your hand. Z-Bites. Z-Bites. We've had 5 legal notices, but that is okay. It's quick and easy to use. Just scroll through our terms of service, which is quick and short. Nice and easy peasy, that's Z-Bites. Z-Bites. Once you scroll through those TOS, you're gonna wanna allow access to me. You know, you just give me your location, where you've been, your social security number, credit card number, where your family members are at, hell, wherever they're buried at too. Blood type, are you an organ donor? I might be looking soon, I'd like to know. Your mother's maiden name, your mom's swinging name, medical records, DNA results, body measurements, access to your bank account, the street you grew up on, your locker combination from middle school. I want to smell and taste what your mom's underwear is like. Or your dad's. Stool sample, a lock of your hair, a vial of your ejaculate. If you still have your umbilical cord or your placenta, I'd like to taste that. How big are your tits? A 24-hour live feed from your bathroom. Have you had a sexual dream about your mom or your sister. We don't judge. Are those hazels, by the way? We'll find out. Has your pituitary gland been jiggled or milked? Cock thickness or pussy depth? We don't judge here.
Z-Bites.
After every 3 sounds, Zach Lewis original music will play, and you can't log out. Your phone will be locked because I know your information. With the new iPhone 16 feature, there's eye tracking, and I'm gonna be looking at your eyes. The phone's actually telling me to stay still. Let's just watch it as still as possible. Oh, I have access to the app again. No big deal.
Let me speak.
Quick disclaimer for you. It's a hot, hot app. And I don't mean the content in there. It will burn your phone. We've lost a few customers already. Those damn lithium batteries. When you use the app, it's an automatic purchase for Zach Lewis Live to wherever the fuck I'm playing next. You're welcome. We have amazing pricing for Z-Bites. It's 50. Don't ask how much time 50 costs. It's 50. We're looking forward to hearing your feedback, how you're enjoying the app. But I already know. I'm tracking you, and we're watching you. We put the creators first here at Z-Bites. 50% of this app will go to me, but of course we have to take care of the other people, the owners, the artists, which is me. So I'm getting that other 50%. Z-Bites, taking the sound to new levels.
That's an app. Wow. Now there's an app I can get behind.
Sign me up.
Wow, wow, wow. Sign me up.
Please.
It's only 50. 50 what?
It's just 50.
It's 50. Oh, just 50. It's just 50. That doesn't seem like a lot.
It's 50.
It's just 50.
We have too much fun here, don't we, folks?
Again, I'm nothing without my beautiful director, Ian. So shout out to you.
Love it.
Yes. Yes.
Back
I
to
see
you,
you.
Ian.
So did everyone watch it? The debate?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did.
You know, when it started, I was concerned because Kamala started going off on the typical kind of like talking points like, I care about the middle class and I want families to have enough money to buy a house. And I don't believe that it's right to healthcare. It's like, well, what are you going to do about it? You keep saying, everyone keeps saying the same shit. However, she quickly pivoted to a more, she went after Trump pretty much solidly the whole night on his record. And I would say, people will say I'm biased, but I am a complete perfect centrist.
Really?
And I will say now, tonight, I will pick a side and say Kamala destroyed Trump, eviscerated his old ass. Eviscerated. And I don't even think he got one good line off. You can see the coping that's going on Twitter and in conservative circles. The first thing is that they're posting pictures of Trump, AI pictures of Trump with animals, like he's saving the animals they're trying to eat.
They're eating the dogs. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist.
Here, do we have there's all over the place these.
And I got involved with the Taliban.
Let's see here.
My favorite line of the night, Trump saying that he got involved in the Taliban.
Oh yeah, she brought up that Trump invited the Taliban to Camp David, and I thought everybody knew that. Yeah, he did that shit.
And I got involved with the Taliban.
And he said, no way. And I said, wait.
Wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please.
So the coping that I'm seeing is one, the 3 verse 1 thing people are harping on, which again, it wasn't even that bad. They fact checked him a few times in places they literally couldn't ignore.
Pets.
And then the other one is the pets thing, they say, which is unbelievable.
That was just so fucking weird.
The fact that that's the one they're going with is like pretty catastrophic.
Why would he bring that up, man? He's a fucking nut.
But it's obviously so dumb, weird, and bad, and then everybody's just kind of falling in line and being like, well, no, this is the one he chose for us, so we got to defend. It's like they're dying on a hill that he forced them to charge.
He had the perfect opportunity, and this was his opportunity to go in there, act like a president, and he just totally dropped it because he did the whole shtick. He does the same fucking shtick, man.
He's had that opportunity so many times, and frankly, he's just look at this shit. This is an official tweet from a government account, the GOP Judiciary
Committee. It's Jim Jordan, basically.
Protect our ducks and kittens in Ohio. This is their platform, people. This man is in a suit in the water. Why is the cat in the water? Why is Trump in his suit in a pond? What is happening?
Cats.
And frankly, the duck is not a floaty, and it looks like he's trying to float on a small duck. This image is ridiculous. And this notion that all of a sudden Trump is just this animal-loving, PETA.
All these people, like, oh my God.
Save our cats and ducks. Like, this is it. This was the best you've got out of that debate. That was bad. That was bad.
And the immediate, I don't know if you've seen this, but just immediately pivoting when people rightly are like, okay, the mayor of the town and the police chief and like everybody says there are no credible reports of this happening. Immediately pivot into, oh, well, here's a picture of a guy with a goose. He killed a goose.
Yeah, well, Trump's response at the time was like, "Oh, well, that's convenient for a mayor to say about his town." He goes, "They're embarrassed. They don't want to admit it." It's like, what? Nobody's embarrassed. They want if their pets were being eaten, they'd want to save them.
Right, and so now they've been forced in this position where it's like, okay, some guy killed a goose, and which I believe is illegal without a license or whatever, but it's like, We've already gone several steps away from killing people's dogs and cats. It killed a goose. Lots of people kill goose. Like, people eat gooses.
I mean, we don't track all the animal incidents that happen throughout the country. So certainly I would imagine that violence against gooses happens. Certainly.
Isn't it like a lot of these conservatives, they would say that's based in trad, you know what I mean? Like, there's somebody hunting for their own food, but it's a black person doing it, so it's scary.
Based in trad. So let's get into some clips. These are the zingers and zongers. She eviscerated him, and she did it in a way like that she remains classy, you know what I mean? That's the way to do it. Go ahead, Mrs. President.
Values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to.
That is so good. That is so good.
He's such a fucking baby.
And look how bad he's
My work
like, oh,
to say we are going to.
And what he should have said is like, listen, filing for bankruptcy is a smart business decision. I work within the system. That's why I'm the best man at the job.
Silly woman.
But he didn't even address it. He just took the L on that.
Work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes.
He doesn't say that. He says like, actually, I got way less money, and I've made so much money.
I only got a couple million.
Yeah. I only got a fraction of 400 million.
Which again is just over and over he's getting baited into saying shit like that, which just to most people that sounds ridiculous. They're like, I only got a couple million. I only inherited a couple million.
A fraction of 400 million was nothing. And completely immaterial to the ratings. Just like wasted words. So, girl, we see you and we hear you.
Increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus.
So that was that one. That was a good zinger there. We got another one. She zinged them up pretty good. This was a straight zonger. This was very good.
Well, I think this is so rich. Coming from someone who has been prosecuted.
Hold on, let me go back.
Thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich.
Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich. Coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault.
That part's true, my friend. You can't appeal that one. I think you've already paid out.
His next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts.
That's true.
So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we...
Yeah, another big one is like how he called off the border bill. It's like such a fat L, you know.
One thing I also find interesting, it's minor, but she always looks in the camera. She's like speaking directly to the country. To
the whole body language of Trump is bizarre.
Yeah,
like, the entire time he was.
He's old and tired.
Yeah, his eyes are like kind of squinted closed. Like he just looks like shit.
I don't know. I thought his eyes did look beautiful.
Oh, you were taken by his eyes.
It had a sparkle to him.
Let me. So I'm.
But yeah, it just is. You know. We've fallen into, we've already moved on because news moves so fast. But I just keep coming back to how fucking great it is that Biden dropped out. Like, do you remember what that last one felt like? And just seeing Biden just stumble his way fucking through against that guy, the same guy.
Well, yeah, Trump was like, this is fucking, I got it made in the shade. And I'll admit that I was one of the people that was like, there's no way we're going to find like a viable alternative that can beat Trump. But I think we're all pleasantly surprised Kamala is a formidable challenger.
For sure.
Dude, Biden put on the Trump hat yesterday. Did you guys see that?
No.
Did you see the clip of him saying tomorrow I'm doing 9/11?
He said tomorrow I'm doing 9/11, and Trump said I linked up with the Taliban, or what was it? I got involved with the Taliban.
Here is
the Taliban.
Video games with Trump supporting Pennsylvania shows President Shelton. Can't remember his own name.
Oh, this guy called him an old fart.
He doesn't give a fuck. He's done.
He's checked out, bro.
Dude, he's probably got such a load off his shoulders. He's just done. He's done. He's on the beach. This man's on vacation. And you know what? After a lifetime of service, he damn deserves it.
Yeah, right off into the sunset, Joe.
He's been in public service for goddamn 6 decades.
I'm gay.
Go enjoy the sand, and be your gay self. What were you saying, AB? I apologize.
Live your true self.
Oh no, I was just saying he's wearing a MAGA hat on the beach.
He wore it again later?
No.
Oh,
you guys said he's retiring on the beach. I said in a MAGA hat.
I'm coming out as MAGA.
Presidential hat. Presidential seal on it?
You want to autograph it?
Oh, sure I'll autograph it.
Huh?
Yeah.
You remember your name?
I don't remember my name. I'm slow.
You're old fart.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm an old guy.
And you're an old fart.
I know you would know about that.
What?
About being old.
Oh, I know.
All right.
He's very sloppish.
I was going to put him in...
I mean, he's a good sport. He's a great sport. And I love that for him. But he's moving slow.
He reminds me of the guys I grew up with. There was always one in the neighborhood.
Well, I'm the only one.
There you go, man. I need that hat.
You want my autograph?
Hell no.
Why is he moving like so fucking slow? He's moving in slow motion.
I've never seen an old person move that way. It's so funny.
But like, he's talking. I mean, he's on his shit. Not exactly like a worthy adversary. Billy Bob there. Billy Bob.
Billy Bob is almost harder to understand than him.
That's true. Come on, Billy Bob. You gotta admit, that's a class act. Look, he's happy. Look how happy he is. Handshakes. That's what America is. Damn it. Let's get those handshakes out. Billy Bob. Let's get you,
Nobody.
Very good, very good. What else we got here? Trump gets upset when Kamala talks during him talking. Okay. They were loving this, which was like, okay, whatever. It's just kind of a non-moment.
She was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute, I'm talking now.
By the way, she was not really interrupting. She was kind of just being a little bit of a diva.
He had this line like ready. He was trying to use it at an opportunity, I bet.
You think so?
You don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
Wait,
so was that?
What sounds
She said that to, I forget who it was.
Pence. She said it to Pence during the VP
during the
debate.
VP debate.
Oh God, he's been holding on to that. That's not.
Well, that's not cute. That's why I'm saying it's contrived.
And it's not cute that he's like so wounded by what happened.
I don't know. I mean, people
many years ago.
His supporters like how petty he is. It's a positive.
But again, it wasn't that rude. He was just like, "Can you please let me talk?" You know, it's just not that.
She went out. She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis.
There it is, guys. Huge moment for Trump.
Huge moment.
And I don't care.
Trump gets upset when Kamala talks during. Oh wait, what? That's the one we just watched, AB.
Yeah. Oh, I sent that a while ago.
Oh. We need a candidate who isn't confused by facts. This one was very good. I have to say, Kamala. Kamala.
Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom work with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond. He is very confused. Actually, they got him good because Trump was under fire from his Groyper fans when he said he lost by a whisker. He admitted that in an interview. I forget to who, but he said by a whisker.
It was to Lex.
Oh, Lex got him. He says, I lost by a whisker. They're like, wait, you lost? What the fuck? And so now the moderator was like, so do you still think you lost by a whisker, or did you win the election? And he's like, no, I won that shit.
That was said sarcastically.
Amazing. I don't know
It's,
about amazing, but thank you.
I mean, no matter how he answers that, he's kind of fucked. We fact-checking him moments? Let's see here. Here's all the ones that I guess triggered. Ben Shapiro was molding and crying and pissing and shitting. He's such a baby. He was cracking me up the most.
It's actually just been sitting.
And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, how dare you fact check something that's so blatantly...
Everybody's been doing good.
It's such a blatant, hot lie.
Making headway on several bigger video projects. I'm sorry I haven't had anything out in like a week. There's been a lot to do. A lot I'm doing. And unfortunately, when it comes to projects, I'm kind of beholden to the world around me. So I have to wait for, people to interview, other stuff.
Yeah, no, doctors are killing babies. Well, actually, that's not true. Moving on. 3 verse 1, the fuck? More like 4 verse 1, because Trump's against himself, too.
Wow. Got him.
Thank you.
Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one.
Why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of
The Cold War is over.
My guess is that they're planning a spectacle of some kind.
Something that'll scare the hell out of people. Coalition forces launched the operation 2 weeks ago against Saddam Hussein. They're taking out as many
Adler's my
targets from the air as
father.
possible.
Look at this guy. He's awesome. Hey, was that Wait, was that Laswell?
See Saddam's hands too.
Isn't that your friend?
Is Laswell in this?
Of our enemy is unclear now.
We're not alone. They would kill
I see trippy stuff.
you give them the open shot.
Time we had a chat.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Get him, Adler. Dude, I'm fucking stoked. Ready?
These pieces of video, I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point.
He's not wrong. He was not fucking.
No, it doesn't even make sense. That's not sarcasm.
I lost by a whisker. No, I won, but I won, actually. I won.
Out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No judge
Republican,
looked at it.
and said
They said we didn't have standing. Crime in this country is through the roof, and we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements.
So that's everything. I mean, guys, you are pissing and shitting from that? I mean, and in a like 2-hour debate, that's 50 seconds. My goodness.
They're eating the dogs.
You know? Trump asked about his health care plan. Guys, this is big. Trump.
I've been waiting.
You know, Trump's been talking about repealing Obamacare since the first time he ran for office in golly, that was 10 years ago by now. And he's had a long time to figure out what would replace Obamacare, and he's finally ready to unveil these plans to you now.
President Trump, this is now your third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Correct. Last month, you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up, they wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me
what the fuck are you on about?
Well, so rewind it a little bit. The beginning of all that, so he's talking about he wanted to fix Obamacare. So I don't remember all the details, but that effectively was a repeal of most of Obamacare. And he's saying the Democrats voted against it, which they famously, of course did. But this was the famous, John McCain is the vote that decided that vote.
Yeah.
And he was the one that saved it. And so it actually was his own party stabbing him in the back, so to speak, that killed his plans for replacing Obamacare, which again was basically just a repeal of most of Obamacare.
So there's this great line here. He comes out with the plan though, finally.
Just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? and I saved it. I did the right thing, but it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if...
Listen, I'm not... You got to pay me, lady.
I have
I'm not on the
concepts of a
job.
plan.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not president right now.
I love that. I have concepts of a plan.
I think he does the Michael Scott thing where he keeps talking till he comes up with an answer.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, he plots his way as he goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
government healthcare the same as Obamacare because I'm on it, Blue Anthem because of it. I mean, probably, yeah. If you got it through one of the exchanges, then yeah, that's Obamacare.
He goes, I'm going to introduce a new healthcare system that is cheaper and better. That's it.
Bible study. This week we will be...
Oh, my makeup won't get ruined over it. And then it doesn't start until about here.
says, then you're in the right place.
Now, the most important thing to consider is that he is supposing he expects his audience to completely believe that he's innocent, and the way he goes about, I don't even need to explain it. You will see the way he goes about trying to, quote unquote, as he will say, defend himself. And he does that by denigrating his own kids. And as we will see, advocating for...
Great. Let's hear it. They've been saying this from the beginning. They're completely trapped on this issue because the conception of the Affordable Care Act and like how it functions it originated as a conservative conception of how to do national health care. Like, this is their plan. Like, even though Obama's name is on it, like, they don't have a better idea because this is the idea that kind of conforms to conservative principles. And so they have to pretend like they hate it, but that's why it's so difficult for them to come up with some other solution.
Well, they haven't. It's been fucking 12 years. 16.
It's still all private health insurance. It's just the government helps facilitate and subsidize people buying private health insurance. It's like it's a market solution. It's what they came up with in the first place.
Is this somewhat what's happening here?
Yeah, this makes me think of Scary Movie 3.
I have a dream. What is your dream? I have a dream. Yeah. My plan is that I'll have a plan. Essentially, correct. So there he is. Concepts of a plan. Fantastic.
In other words, we'll execute the baby.
Hey, come on.
That she put out.
Don't do that.
That was said sarcastically.
No. Okay, let's comfort him.
Planting mine. Subsection out. Under fire. Grenade. Get back.
Ever since November of 2023, when Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit against rapper, businessman, and multimillionaire P. Diddy, a multitude of allegations have come out against him. In the past couple of months, Diddy has been arrested, multiple more lawsuits have come out, and he also has multiple charges against him. And with everything that's come out against Diddy recently, it can get confusing when it comes to the details, making it hard to separate facts from fiction. So today I'm going to break down every single formal allegation that P. Diddy is facing, but first we gotta understand a little bit more about Puff. Also, I just want to put a little disclaimer right here that obviously we're talking about some really dark and disgusting and sensitive topics, as I'm sure most of you are probably already aware, but I just wanted to warn you guys because it gets pretty graphic. So with that in mind, let's continue. Most of us know who Diddy is or know of Diddy, but we gotta have a better understanding of who he is to truly understand these allegations. Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, or Sean Combs, began his career in the 90s working at Uptown Records. A few years into his career, he was fired, so he then created his own label called Bad Boy Records in 93. He signed the notorious B.I.G., who was obviously a huge sign and made Puff very successful. He signed other artists like Faith Evans and had an in-house production team called The Hitmen, who worked with artists like Usher, TLC, Mariah Carey, Aretha Franklin, and many more. Puff was already very successful, but then he decided to work on his own music. His first single charted for 28 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100, and his first album sold 561,000 copies first week. So Diddy was already wildly successful early on in his career in the music industry. Not only was he a successful artist, but he was also a powerful executive with tons of connections. He also had other business ventures, with one of his most successful ones being his partnership with Ciroc, in which he helped him develop their brand in exchange for 50% of the profits. So if you don't know much about Diddy, that's pretty much all you need to know. He's a rich, powerful, and successful man in the music industry and Hollywood in general. He's won a Guinness World Record for most successful rap producer in 1997. He's won 3 Grammys, and he's also credited for cultivating artists like Biggie, Mary J. Blige, and Usher. I kept it brief for simplicity's sake, obviously, but I really wanted to emphasize his power, his influence, and his wealth. Also, I said earlier he was a multi-millionaire, but they have even estimated his net worth to be $1 billion, so Diddy is very rich. Throughout his career, P. Diddy has also had quite a few controversies. In 1999, he was sued by the label manager after Diddy attacked him, for which they settled out of court for $500,000. In 2003, his clothing brand Sean John was accused of violating Honduran labor laws as the factory was based in Honduras. The National Labor Committee said that the employees were forced to work overtime, were paid sweatshop wages, and that the bathrooms were locked. In 2007, Diddy was sued for battery after he punched Gerard Rechnitzer at a nightclub. No idea if I said his name right. There's even more alleged violent crimes that he's committed throughout his career. For example, Diddy's ex Cassie Ventura, who we will talk more about later, said that Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car, to which a spokesperson for Kid Cudi said that it was true. On top of that, for years, Diddy has been theorized to be involved in both Pac and Biggie's deaths. Tupac's murder suspect even claimed that Diddy wanted him to kill both Pac and Suge Knight. There's even the time Eminem said, the day you put out a hit, the day Diddy admits he put out the hit that Pac killed. On top of that, Diddy even admitted that the death of Biggie helped his own music career. Even as recently as 2017, he was sued for sexual harassment by his chef, and the suit was settled out of court. So for a long time, Diddy has been a very shady guy in the music industry, with tons of conspiracy theories following him throughout his career. And over the years that he would continue to have these controversies, nothing would compare to what happened recently. In November of 2023, singer Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit against Diddy that would set off a chain of legal issues for Puff. She said, "After years of silence and darkness, I am finally ready to tell my story and to speak up on behalf of myself and for the benefit of other women who face violence and abuse in their relationships." Cassie met Diddy in 2005 when she was 19 and he was, I believe, 36. Signed to Diddy's label in 2006. Not only did she sign to the label, but she signed a 10-album deal. She basically signed her life away, and Diddy made her sign this so that he could have more control over her career.
So I want to get us all one down. Get this, changing back. Everybody can hear from me. Focusing excited I am about the project.
Secure the area.
Everybody in Cassie. Y'all know Cassie.
They had an on and off relationship from this time until about 2018. In the lawsuit, Cassie claims that not too long after she met him, Diddy would give her drugs to make her compliant, he would beat her multiple times a year, and he forced her to have sex with male prostitutes while he filmed. He very quickly became very controlling of her, as obviously he was in control of her career, and he would also pay for her car, apartment, clothes, and also had access to her medical records. Apparently, a few years into the relationship, he would coerce her into having sex with male prostitutes while he watched and filmed and pleasured himself. This stuff is really disgusting and disturbing, but basically Diddy was a cuck. And she said that this went on for years. In the suit, there was also mention of the 2016 incident where he hit Cassie in a hotel, then he passed out. She tried to leave, but he woke up and followed her and started hitting her, as seen in the security camera footage. Apparently, Diddy even paid the hotel $50,000 record the footage. In 2018, at the end of their relationship, he apparently forced himself into her apartment and R-worded her, after which she finally left him for good. Also included in the suit, apparently Diddy dangled one of Cassie's friends over a 17th floor hotel balcony, and the suit also touches on when Diddy tried to blow up Cuddy's car in 2012 because Cuddy was briefly fighting Cassie. Like I said, one of Cuddy's spokespeople said, which is all true. One of Diddy's lawyers, Ben Brafman, said, Mr. Combs vehemently denies these offensive and outrageous allegations. For the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Ms. Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million, under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Despite withdrawing her original right, Ms. Ventura has now resorted to filing a lawsuit riddled with baseless and outrageous lies, aiming to tarnish Mr. Combs' reputation and seeking a payday. In response, one of Cassie's lawyers said, Mr. Combs offered Ms. Ventura 8 figures to silence her and prevent the filing of this lawsuit. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think it's pretty disgusting to say that this is blatant lies because Cassie was seeking a payday when there's literally footage of Diddy beating her in the hotel. And that footage actually wasn't even out at the time, which means the dude was just lying. Like I said, though, Cassie was suing Diddy for $30 million, and apparently the day after they filed the lawsuit, it was settled out of court. It was settled for an undisclosed amount, and both parties said they wanted to settle it in a pleasant and friendly way. There was nothing public about how they settled it. We don't know how much money Cassie was paid, if any, or even why in particular they settled. Ben Cesario from the New York Times said, for Diddy, the settlement quickly shuts down what could have been a risky and potentially embarrassing process of legal discovery, in which reams of evidence are made public and a possible trial. And Cassie also likely didn't want to relive all of her trauma, which is why she probably was willing to settle rather than sit through a trial. But thanks to Cassie's courage for coming forward about this, a multitude of lawsuits followed. Just 5 days after Cassie's lawsuit, another lawsuit was filed accusing Diddy of drugging and essaying a college student at Syracuse University in 1991 and filming it. Then apparently Diddy would show the footage to people as revenge porn. Shortly after that, a third lawsuit was filed accusing Diddy and Aaron Hall of R-wording the accuser and her friend. Apparently, following the assault, Diddy pulled up to the girl's residence and got violent, even choking the girl till she passed out. After this suit came out, Diddy's spokesperson again claimed they were lies, saying these are fabricated claims falsely alleging misconduct from over 30 years ago and filed at the last minute. This is nothing but a money grab. Because of Mr. Combs' fame and success, he is an easy target for anonymous accusers who lie without conscience or consequence for financial benefit. Following this, on December 6th, another lawsuit was filed in which they claimed in 2003 a 17-year-old was gang R-worded by Diddy, Harvey Pierre, and an unnamed assailant. The victim says they talked her into getting on a private jet to New York, drugging her, and then assaulted her. In this lawsuit, the girl even provided pictures, making the claims all that more believable. In December, after all of these allegations, Diddy finally made a statement on his Instagram saying, enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation, and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth. But it's safe to say Diddy's statement was not well received, and more awful allegations continued to come out. In February of this year, the producer Lil Rod filed a huge $30 million lawsuit in which he accused Diddy of harassing and threatening him for over more than a year. He also allegedly had footage of Diddy and his people committing crimes and doing SA. Lil Rod was accusing Diddy of what they said was RICO-level charges and named people such as Diddy, his son Justin, Lucien Grange, the CEO of Universal Music Group, Ethiopia, Habtemariam, if that's how you say it, I have no idea, the CEO of Motown Records, Chalice Recording Studios, Diddy's chief of staff Christina Karam, and Diddy's companies as defendants. So basically what he's saying is all these people I just listed and the companies were involved in these crimes alongside Diddy. I do think it's important to note, though, that Lucien Grange and UMG were eventually removed from the lawsuit. Lil Rod lived with Diddy for months at a time and was also on a yacht Diddy rented for multiple weeks. He said that he witnessed many of Diddy's awful acts. Apparently, Lil Rod was also the victim of constant, unsolicited, and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus by Mr. Combs. When he complained to Diddy's chief of staff, he said, you know, Sean will be Sean. Rod even said that Diddy was trying to make him have sex with Stevie J and promised him that he would win a Grammy if he did. According to the suit, Rod said he was also sexually assaulted by a cousin or assistant of rapper Young Miami. He was sexually harassed and assaulted by Oscar winner Cuba Gooding Jr. and obtained footage of a rapper and an R&B singer whose names have been redacted from the complaint, consorting with underage girls and sex workers. Finally, Rodney said that the reason no one has come forward with anything over the past few decades is because Diddy has footage of every person that has attended his parties that he blackmailed him. So Rodney accused Diddy of a ton of crimes, plenty of which we'll touch on more later. But this lawsuit was huge, especially because he was naming names and said he had evidence for all of this. Diddy's attorney said that the suit includes reckless name dropping about events that are pure fiction. Following this, 2 of Diddy's houses were raided by the feds. They said, earlier today, Homeland Security Investigations New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners. We will provide further information as it becomes available. Both of his sons, Justin and Christian, were also handcuffed during the raids. So clearly, either because of the lawsuits or before them, Diddy was under investigation by the feds. After the raids, CNN obtained the video of Diddy attacking Cassie in the hallway, which Diddy decided to apologize for, since this was the only evidence so far that had been released to the public.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. Disgusting. I'm so sorry. I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
On May 22nd, a few days after the video came out, a former model accused Diddy of drugging and essaying her in another lawsuit. A couple of days later, another woman came forward accusing Diddy of 4 instances of essay from the mid-1990s to the early 2000s. He was also accused of battery and assault in this suit as well. Most recently, another suit came out where Diddy was accused of drugging and R-wording another woman. According to ABC, this is at least the 12th lawsuit filed against Diddy since Cassie came out with hers back in November of 2023. As of recording this, no more have come out, but it's very possible more people will speak out. The reason all of these people came forward around the same time is because of a new law passed in New York called the Adult Survivors Act. Basically, what this did was give adult victims, people who were 18 years or older during their alleged time of abuse, the ability to file civil lawsuits in New York, even if any statutes of limitations have run out. If you don't know what that means, basically, if you were an adult in New York who got essayed, before this new act, there was about a 3-year window where you could file a suit. As far as I understand it, I am by no means a lawyer, but this is what it said on Google. So now with the Adult Survivors Act, victims had a 1-year window to file suits, and it's set to expire this November. So it isn't like this is some big coordinated mastermind attack against Diddy. This new act, coupled with Cassie's coming out in her lawsuit, seems to be what motivated these victims to come forward. And just as it seemed like it couldn't get worse for Diddy, the feds showed up at his front door. Most recently, Diddy was arrested by the feds on September 16th of this year, based on a sealed indictment filed by the Southern District of New York. By the way, indictment is basically just fancy talk for serious charges. The U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said,
Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice.
So like the U.S. Attorney implied, there are 3 main charges that Diddy is currently facing: racketeering conspiracy, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. His first charge is racketeering, which is defined as a set of illegal activities aimed at commercial profit that may be disguised as legitimate business deals. In the indictment, they say that Diddy abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To accomplish this, They claim that he used his employees and his businesses to create a criminal enterprise that indulged in the things that the U.S. attorney mentioned earlier. So basically what they were saying was all of the businesses that Diddy had created over the years, from his music career, his clothing career, and everything else like that, he was using those and his employees to help cover up and do the things he wanted to do. And like we know, many of the things he wanted to do included assaulting women. The attorney even referred to Diddy's business, Combs Enterprise, as a criminal organization because Diddy had many of his employees working to cover up everything he was doing. They said that employees engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other activities, trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion, enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The indictment says that to make women cooperate, Diddy would give them drugs, threaten their careers, and also threaten violence. They said from 2009 and continuing for years, Combs assaulted women by, among other things, striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. And this is where we get to one of the more popular parts of the indictment, the freak-offs. The indictment reads, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sex acts with male commercial sex workers that Combs referred to as freak-offs. Freak-offs were elaborate and produced performances that Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. The lawsuit even said that these freak-offs would last multiple days, and Diddy would pump them with drugs to keep them compliant, and then when they needed to recover after the multiple-day freak-offs, he would give the victims IV fluids. Insane. Of course, they also mentioned that law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies, including narcotics and directed, masturbated during, and off indictment, the freak-offs. The indictment reads, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sex acts with male commercial sex workers that Combs referred to as freak-offs. Freak-offs were elaborate and produced performances that Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. The lawsuit even said that these freak-offs would last multiple days, and Diddy would pump them with drugs to keep them compliant, and then when they needed to recover after the multiple-day freak-offs, he would give the victims IV fluids, which is insane. Of course, they also mentioned that law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies, including narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Of course, this part went viral. It is kind of funny, but it also goes to show the scale of what Diddy was doing. The feds also found multiple firearms in Diddy's houses that he used to threaten his victims. And to top it all off, they said that he has been doing most of this since at least 2008. That's nearly 20 years of terrible crimes Diddy's been committing. And I know there's like a ton of jokes about this whole situation, but in reality, this is like some disgusting supervillain type of stuff. And who knows how many victims he has total. And then, of course, there were the two other counts he was charged with: trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Both of these had very similar themes, and all the information was pretty much the same as we discussed earlier. But what I want to point out about the indictment is that if the U.S. government is indicting you, they probably have pretty good evidence. Apparently, federal prosecutors have above a 95% conviction rate, so things really aren't looking too good for Diddy. They even claimed that they had a ton of recordings, and they also seized a bunch of electronic recording devices in the raid that they did earlier this year. At the end of the press conference given by the U.S. attorney, he said this:
Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York. Second, we are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
The government says in the indictment that others were involved in Diddy's actions, and Legal Eagle explained how the government should go after them.
And there is a federal crime called misprision of felony, which is defined in 18 U.S.C. Section 4. Quote, whoever having knowledge of the actual commission of a felony cognizable by a court of the United States conceals and does not as soon as possible make known the same to some judge or other person in civil or military authority of the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. So if a person has knowledge of a felony and conceals it and doesn't report it to the authorities, that person has committed a crime.
So this investigation is far from over. After being arrested, Diddy has been denied bail multiple times, and he has also been placed on suicide watch. He's also in the same cell as someone Freed or Fried or however you say his name, which is pretty interesting. His lawyer has tried to suggest multiple times he's innocent, which at this point is honestly just ridiculous. ridiculous.
Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He came to New York to establish his innocence. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of the charges. There's nothing that the government said in their presentation today that changes anyone's mind about anything.
I mean, listen to the reason that the lawyer gave for all of Diddy's baby oil bottles.
How do you explain the baby oil and the lubricants? 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I don't think it was 1,000. I think it was a lot. I mean, there's a Costco right down the street. You know, I think Americans buy in bulk, as we know. And you know, this is consensual adults doing what consensual adults do.
To summarize, Diddy is currently facing at least 11 lawsuits, settled one of them, and is also facing an indictment, all of which allege themes of violence, SA, racketeering, trafficking, prostitution, and many more. None of these suits contain any information about other celebrities, except for Lil Rodney's, which has been amended, like I said, to leave out some bigger names. It's possible we will learn about other celebrities or famous people involved in Diddy's freak-offs or other actions in the investigation. But as of now, this is all he's been accused of, legally speaking. So while there are all these rumors floating around about who he did things with or to, these are the things he's actually being accused of by multiple people and the U.S. government. And as Bruce Rivers says,
guess what, Diddy? Diddy, I got news for you. There's a freight train coming. You are tied to those motherfucking tracks. And your lawyer, he's got a chisel, he's got a blowtorch, and he's got all kinds of other tools in his toolbox. And nothing he can do can remove you from those tracks, because that train is coming, and that train is the U.S. government.
So hopefully, as this investigation continues, not only are they able to lock Diddy up, but they're able to lock up everybody else who's been involved over this long period of time.
It might sound like he's just talking about Bible verses and making an argument. No, he is very specifically angling this conversation towards his own children. That's what he's talking about. The people who he believes have cursed him. His 3 sons. And it says so much about his character as a man.
And to me, it's just the most incredible place in the world. It's the most incredible experiment. Like, we have kids who are incredibly better millionaires. Like, you can be someone who is mentally ill and be a millionaire. Name another country that's possible. There's streamers on the internet that are mentally retarded, and they're millionaires. What the Is that not amazing? Like, is that not mind-blowing?
Yeah, only in America. Oh, yeah. You got some of that tism that your friend talked about.
Patrick Bet David is on a hiring spree. On the latest episode of his podcast, he dropped one of the biggest flexes to date, offering YouTube comedian Andrew Schultz a late-night show as part of a $500 million investment into setting up a media company to compete with the likes of Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, and Jimmy Kimmel. Except it doesn't quite make sense. So stick around for my full breakdown. But not only that, on the same episode, Andrew dropped one of his biggest Schultz epiphanies to date in his attempt to sound smart and fit in with the PBD crew.
If you control the carrot, you control the culture.
Yeah, our boy Schultz just discovered capitalism. What was that about millionaires on the internet? But listen, you may have heard recently that PBD hired disgraced TV puppet Chris Cuomo to join his Valuetainment brand and start creating content on his platform. So I'll go through the controversy towards the end of this video and show you a few interesting facts and figures that led to Fredo joining PBD's Valuetainment grift. For now though, let's take a look at this $500 million media company that PBD wants to create and hire Andrew Schultz to head up a new late-night talk show.
If I wanted to, do a late-night show, I'm going to keep saying this until this happens. There's 2 guys I love. I like 2 guys. Okay. I think the other guy's going to do something. I think he's going to go a different direction than you. I think you're more versatile, that you can talk a lot of different topics, but I think that guy's also going to do something. Marcelo SNL, I'm a big fan of him. Great. But for you, hey, if I were to put $500 million into a media company to want to have a late night show, I would probably spend 20% of it and
and sign a guy to do a late night show, bring writers, bring a team, and have that guy compete against the Fallon, the Kimmel, all those guys, and I think you would kill it. I think you would kill it.
And I would watch it.
I would come and watch. I'd be sitting there saying, I'm going to be sitting there watching it, so...
Maybe we got to make something happen.
Maybe we got to make something happen.
We got to make something.
But since...
That space could be taken over quite easily.
100%. I think 100% that space can be taken.
Okay, oh my God, here we go. First thing, let's just forget for a moment that PDD doesn't have $500 million to throw at a media company. In fact, I doubt he even has $5 million. His whole life is leased or on credit cards. I mean, PBD's the kind of guy to do a house tour on a rental property. Secondly, let's say he did set up his $500 million media company. On what network is he going to run this talk show? Like, does he really know what he's saying? If he's going to compete in that space, he'd have to buy an existing TV network to broadcast all of these shows. And that takes me to my next point. He already has a media company. It's a YouTube channel called Valuetainment, where he pays for his guests, probably with borrowed money, and has also been accused of buying views, likes, and comments. But here's the thing. Here's some free advice for the big man. There already are a bunch of competitors to the late night talk shows. Have you heard of Joe Rogan, Theo Von, Tim Dillon, Bad Friends, YMH Studios, etc., etc.? Oh, and don't forget, have you heard of Flagrant? See, there are these things called comedy podcasts that already compete with the establishment talk shows like Jimmy Kimmel, Colbert, and Jimmy Fallon. Schultz is already doing it. So why would you set up a $500 million media company with money you don't have to enter an industry that's already been overtaken by lower cost, higher retention, more profitable podcasts with much lower barriers to entry? And if you needed more proof that PBD is talking complete BS to flex in front of Schultz, take a look at this next clip. After Schultz explained how his parents met, PBD asks him how much influence his childhood has had on his own life after recently becoming a father himself. And in a few short words, PBD exposes his lack of knowledge about just how late-night talk shows really work.
How much the way he raised you and they raised you are you planning on using on the way you raise your kids?
I mean, as much as I can. As much as I can, yeah. You know, like I'm trying to keep those things. Like I'm at home at 6 o'clock every day when I'm in town. And hopefully I'll be in a little dinner kind of situation. And plug in.
So late night's not going to work.
Well, when she goes to bed, when my daughter goes to bed, that's when I'll go out and do shows.
When she goes to bed, then you go out and do shows. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool.
Whoops, did PBD not realize in his infinite wisdom that late night talk shows are recorded during the day? Did nobody tell him they're not live? Come on, surely someone willing to throw $100 million at Andrew Schultz to run a talk show knows that it's all pre-recorded. You know, just like a podcast. Maybe it's because PBD live streams most of his own podcast and just assumed that's how it works for all media. Anyway, after all this talk show talk, Schultz decided to share one of his epiphanies about how capitalism works, which he came up with after his interview last week with RFK Jr. on Flagrant. Now, when you're watching this, just remember, this is the condensed version.
We had RFK on the pod, right? Yeah. Charming guy, really charming. And he said something on the pod that was a joke. It wasn't a joke, it was serious, but it was meant in like the laughing bit, right? Like, and he basically was talking about, because I asked him about, hanging out with Epstein. And he goes, listen, you understand, like, I'm in New York at this time. Like, he goes, I had Bill Cosby at my house. I had OJ at my house. I had Harvey Weinstein. He goes through the gambit of the worst people on purpose. Like, he's trying to show, look how many awful people were in my life. Instead of these, like, Hollywood cronies that go, oh, my God, Harvey Weinstein, how could you even be with him? And then all of them have pictures sucking his on the red carpet. And then you find out these people are swamp creatures and they're just absolutely disgusting. Yep. Fallon does a joke, and they just take the section where he talks about the people, the Weinstein, whatever, and then he goes, oh my God, who else were you hanging out? Jeffrey Dahmer, blah, blah, blah. A few nights later, Colbert does the same joke, right? And you see, and they're both leaving out the context that he's like, hey, this is, how crazy is it this can happen? You can hang out with these awful people because you're in this social scene you don't even know, right? That's the content, right? But they leave out the context of it. And I'm watching this and I'm like, I see how people could think that there is a conspiracy going on. Like when you see this information, you see like the same joke written twice, There's only 3 late night shows. They should be aware of the jokes that are kind of being made based off the same clip taken out of context. You're like, oh my God, there's a conspiracy. But I think sometimes laziness presents itself as conspiracy. The laziness is there are these writers, right? They know they just need to get jokes on in order to, you know, continue their life, right? They got to chase the path of least resistance to make money, to drive their family, right? They don't love that job. They're not passionate about writing knock-knock jokes or Fallon or any of the other late night hosts. It's not their desire. A lot of them probably started as comedians, stand-up comedians. They want to be out there touring and doing that. This is what pays the bills, protects their family. That's awesome. You don't need like a nefarious group of people to like create assets out of every single politician and lobby every single group if you can control the path of least resistance. That's the thing that's scary, right? I think that's the TikTok concern. If you control the carrots, you control the culture. For example, movies in China. Like Hollywood knows if you get a movie in China, they take like 10 a year. If you get a movie in China, that movie's making crazy money, right? So now all of a sudden, Taiwan isn't going to ever be mentioned in a movie because you want to make sure it meets the Chinese standards. They are dangling the carrot, creating the path of least resistance, and then affecting culture. And I feel like that's one of the things. Like capitalism is the best system, no question, without the best thing that we got. But it was developed at a time where we were the ones consuming everything. We were the biggest consumers. Now you got some other money out there. And if the only thing driving us is capital, we can be manipulated by those sources out there that have the capital.
Wow, that's so insightful. At the ripe old age of 40 years old, Andrew Schultz just figured out that the guys with the deepest pockets have the loudest voices. Incredible. But let me just say one thing here, right? A lot of people don't realize this. During the pandemic, Andrew Schultz released a series of videos on social media that were basically like short talk show monologues where he'd address current issues and events and make jokes about them. Now, Schultz has openly said and explained that he had a team of writers behind him pumping out all of those jokes. So for him to sit there and criticize writers on late night talk shows for towing the company line, well, that's precisely how he got famous during the pandemic. I'll tell you what, that's the height of hypocrisy, even for a guy like Schultz.
You can be someone who is mentally ill and be a millionaire. Name another country that's possible.
And so the circle jerk continued. After Schultz educated the panel with his momentary glimpse into the machinations of a capitalist society, they began to hatch a plan to appeal to the masses. And just in case you needed a reminder, don't forget about what Schultz did to his fans with his independently released comedy special when PBD craps on about how Schultz has values and principles.
I'm a big fan of yours. I'm very excited and curious to know what you do next 20 years because I think you're an intellect and you're entertaining and there's values and principles. Holy shit, that's a great combo.
Triple threat.
So, meaning the upside of the influence, I want to see what a late night, if we have a late night that's being ran by a guy like Andrew and people are watching it, logic will sink in as long as he can have the influence over the writers, as long as like, no, I'm not writing this, I'm not writing this, no, I'm not saying this, no, guys, can we, is this true? Is this really happening? Can you Google it? No, I don't, that's not what he said. Let me play the whole clip. Okay, no, I'm not with this. If we have to compete with culture, right? Because if you let it be the way it is right now, you're talking about Fallon and Kimmel and Colbert, and they're saying what they're saying. Like, no, this is not going to work out. So that's why I'm curious to know what you're going to be doing next 20.
Especially if there's no directive, if there's nobody on top saying, like Andrew, you can't say this, don't. That cannot be infiltrated at all. It's like, listen, we're going to be funny and speak the fact.
Okay. So you're telling me that PBD is going to sink $500 million of monopoly money into a media company and have no editorial oversight of the content they produce? Oh, that's great. Forget about PBD's politics for a minute. I just love how guys like him think that they can remain completely objective and only speak facts and wouldn't fall into the same traps as the mainstream media. But speaking of mainstream media, look what happened to Chris Cuomo. He got fired from CNN for lying to his employer and to his audience about the extent of his involvement in his brother's media campaign. Remember how his brother Andrew Cuomo was the governor of New York and ended up having to resign back in 2021 over allegations of assault and harassment that were lodged against him? Well, apparently Mr. CNN was doing groundwork for his brother behind the scenes while he was still working for CNN. So after he was fired, he went out and tried to do his own thing on YouTube, except nobody watched. Take a look at some of his latest videos. This is the guy who was banking over $6 million a year working for CNN, and now he's getting Brendan Schaub numbers on YouTube. I think a lot of these guys don't realize that without a big network behind you, nobody's going to follow you. And that's definitely one of the reasons why he ended up taking the deal with PBD.
Cuomo's right now with News Nation, and he's enjoying it on the cable side, right?
I thought he's coming here.
No, non-cable is with us.
Okay.
Cable, he's with News Nation. We're not interested. We're not competing cable. So cable, you do whatever you want to do. Cable, you know, on the non-cable stuff, you're going to see him a lot more involved here, stuff that we're doing, because this guy's going to be voting for Trump. So we need somebody else that we can be talking to. And
we need some more lefties around here.
There you go. Fair and balanced, hey? Who better than Chris Cuomo and Adam Sosnick to keep each other honest?
There are streamers on the internet that are mentally retarded.
Yes.
And they're millionaires.
And speaking of millionaires, Chris Cuomo took a massive pay cut going from CNN to News Nation, where he reportedly earns around $1 million a year, which is $5 million less per year than he was earning at CNN. So it kind of makes sense that he would sign up with PBD to earn some extra cash, you know, just to earn a few extra dollars and make up for his losses. But PBD supporters are not happy about this. The comment section on his podcasts are full of people trashing Cuomo, and it's funny because the first video I ever made on this very channel covered Chris Cuomo's appearance on the PBD podcast last year, where PBD sucked up to him the whole time and made a new bestie. For some reason, PBD seems to be obsessed with these establishment figures who come from powerful families. I honestly think he was just so starstruck by Cuomo when he first met him that he saw an opportunity to sign him up just so he can say that he employed one of the Cuomo brothers. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see what kind of content Chris comes out with on Valuetainment. I'm sure it'll be cringy as hell and give us plenty of material to point and laugh at. Let's just hope Schultz doesn't get sucked into PBD's circle, and I actually don't think he will. He seems like he's just entertaining his delusions to be friendly and doesn't mind a bit of the old ego stroking, you know? Schultz has it made over on Flagrant and Brilliant Idiots. He's making a killing off of podcasting and comedy tours, not to mention grifting off of his audience with his independent comedy specials. But look, stay tuned. If you're not a regular of this channel, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment below, let me know what you think about all of this. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
You can be someone who is mentally ill and be a millionaire. Name another country if that's possible. Is that not amazing?
Rogan was always passing money around. Yeah, he kept me in business for a long time. He also never touched my wallet and went out to the finest restaurants. He paid like 3 times in a row on Brand New Delight. This isn't normal for someone. You get around, but not consistently get rounds. That's weird. And then later, we're walking back to the counter. It's just so you know, it's not a power position when I pay for you. It's just like that standard meal for me is about a quarter to you.
I think of money as fun coupons. Sure. That's how I think of it. Like, how much fun can I have with this? Safety. Yeah, but it's also like, you have all these fun coupons. Why do you have them if you're not going to spend them? Why do you spend them?
Why do you think he does it?
I don't know. He's a positive guy.
So if you haven't heard, Joe Rogan is dropping his first comedy special in 6 years live on Netflix at the beginning of August, and the response has been absolutely brutal. Even Rogan himself looks worried at the promo poster, and the fact that it's going to be a live event just makes the whole thing even better, or worse depending on how you look at it. So I'm going to take you through the responses so far to the announcement, but also, as you saw in the intro, Ari Shaffir went on the Tucker Carlson show this week, where they discussed everything from the Kobe Bryant controversy, all the death threats that Ari has received over the years for his controversial style of comedy, as well as his experience as a Jew in the modern world. Needless to say, it was boring as fuck until they got to the end and Tucker asked about Rogan's impact on the comedy industry as a whole. That discussion ended up as a clip on one of Tucker's YouTube channels with the title, How Joe Rogan Single-Handedly Saved Comedy. And as per usual, whenever Rogan's impact on comedy is discussed, or just his comedy in general, the guys having the discussion are completely oblivious to the fact that Rogan's comedy is trash. Take a look at some of the most liked comments under that clip. Joe Rogan honestly isn't a good comedian. That being said, what he has accomplished with his podcast is extraordinary, and his commentary when it comes to martial arts is top-notch. Joe is an average comic. Ari would be literally nothing without Rogan. So what started as a conversation about how Joe saved comedy ended up accidentally exposing Rogan for buying his way onto the comedy scene. But yet again, over on the Joe Rogan Experience, for the second time in 2 weeks, Rogan brought up the fun coupons, so we'll get into all of that as well as a couple of other moments from the latest episode.
I don't want to say who it was. Oh my God, I just got a hot sauce in my eye.
Oh no.
I was eating something with ghost peppers today and I forgot I had it on my hand. I just wiped my eye.
Gonna clear up something.
You psycho.
Definitely gonna forget about your eye.
Oh my God.
What a glowing endorsement of this product.
Oh my God.
It's all good though, because Sam's lobster shirt made it through the podcast and onto the Comedy Mothership stage later that night for the full Joe Rogan Comedy Experience. Podcast by day and Comedy Mothership by night. Let's get back to Ari's interview with Tucker Carlson first. Like I said, they discussed Ari's background and controversies, and there was nothing really new there. But when they got to Rogan's impact on comedy, things got a little bit more interesting.
So that's actually my last question is about the new platform for comedians. Like, how central is Rogan to all this, to this ecosystem?
I mean, he is the best. The amount of support he has. I mean, there's times where he goes, some big guy, some Oliver Stone wants me to have a podcast, but I can't. I just put the mic on today or tomorrow. So I'm already booked. I want to promote this open micer. Whereas everybody else would go, well, the name Oliver Stone will get more hits than this open micer. So I can't. He's just like, I'm the name. I'm Joe Rogan. So I want to put this guy on, that guy on. And this guy's funny. I want to push him to a big platform instead of like, what's going to help me book my show? It's like, what's interesting will help me. The casual talking about the outlawness of stand-up has helped all of us. Whether or not you've been on his show or not, he's made stand-up more popular. You know, so now we can all just, I mean, it's succeeding on it's a crazy level.
So what's the effect on the stand-up's career of going on Rogan?
Well, one time is not as big as it once was, because there's thousands of episodes. But guys like Theo Vaughn launched off like a good early appearance. Tim Dillon launched off that. Dave Smith, really became well known.
I know all three. Good guy.
Yeah. And you do well on that. Joey D, but like it was consistent ones. It's not like, it's kind of like the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson was a long time ago. Yeah. It's like, they say like, you go on there, you're a star, and everyone you talk to from back then, like, no. Your 8th time on there, you're a star. But that whole week, people recognized you.
But unlike Carson, I mean, Rogan makes the call himself. He doesn't have like scouts and clubs and things.
So one thing that I've noticed in particular since Rogan opened his comedy club is that he's having more and more comedians on his podcast to help promote them, and then getting them up on stage that night and throughout the rest of the week to perform at the Mothership. If you're a big fan of stand-up and you're constantly looking for new acts to watch, then it's probably a good thing. But I'm starting to see more and more comments, especially since he's been back on YouTube, saying something along the lines of, I'm so sick of all these comedians I've never heard of going on the podcast, or as soon as I saw the description of this guest as a stand-up comedian, I clicked right off, or I knew I could miss this one. There seems to be a growing sense of fatigue with all the comedians Rogan's pushing on his podcast, and I'm not just talking about the Rogan 6. And it's not just because some of them we haven't heard of, it's mostly because the conversations are boring as hell. Rogan gets them on and starts giving them career advice, telling them the same old stories over and over again, and that's probably why the view count on those episodes are so much lower compared to non-comedian guests. At this point, I think Rogan's risking too much by investing all of this time and money into stand-up comedy. People are starting to get comedy fatigue, and now that he's back on YouTube, he can't hide the numbers like he used to on Spotify. More and more episodes are struggling to hit 1 million views, and when you consider that Rogan used to get an average of 10 to 11 million views per episode, it just goes to show how many people have stopped clicking on his podcast. But outside of the show, Rogan is known for being quite generous with his money and helping out his friends who were broke. Because remember, Rogan's pretty much always had a public profile, whether it was news radio in the late 90s, Fear Factor in the early 2000s, or being one of the faces and voices of the UFC for almost last 30 years. He's always been a celebrity in one way or another, and he's always had money.
And Rogan's always passing money around. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he kept me in business for a long time.
Rogan did?
I opened for him for 5-6 years on the road. Yeah, we're good friends. We're good friends. But like, so I mean, you can't pay him back. I just try to pass it.
How many dates do you have?
Yeah, Rogan, he just rules for it. And it's a way of like, he's like, pay your openers well. He was paying me $150 a set to MC. The standard rate was 50. He was paying 150, and then paying Joey Diaz would go with us also. He's paying him also 150, and the rate for the middle was 100. And then one day he called me and Joey, and he goes, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm giving you guys a raise." But I'm like, no one's offering us that much. Definitely not more. He goes, "No, you guys are headliners. You should make headliner money." He didn't keep it to the set. So we'd come home with like as much money as I would make, pretty much, on my own headlining. That I never got any work, by the way. But like, it would have been the same. And also never touched my wallet and went out to the finest restaurants. You know, it was...